in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Oh boy. Hello there and welcome. It's a Tuesday, isn't it? The night after a surprisingly nail-biting Steeler Monday Night Football win, and it's the 13th of November. My sister's unable to join us today, so it's merely moi and toi and nous. I don't know what the hell it is. You and me, guys. Now, I have not talked about this yet, so you're going to have to let me talk about it. I'm still trying to figure it out like a million other people, and I want you to help me. This Petraeus thing is getting weird. It is. It's getting more than just... Broad, whatever her name is, the first woman, has Broadwell, Paula Broadwell. Her father has been heard to say, this is not... You're going to be surprised. This is not what it appears to be. There's more behind. Blah, blah, blah. And since he said that a few days ago, this is, proved to be correct. And there keeps new little wrinkles keep popping up. And the biggest new wrinkle, of course, is the now inclusion of another general in this potentially sordid story. And that general, too, a high-up general, as a matter of fact, he was soon, assuming the Senate was going to okay it, General John Allen, who currently is what Petraeus was. He is the top commander in Afghanistan. And he was on tap to become the head of, I guess, NATO's supreme allied commander. So he would head all of NATO forces. That nomination has been put on hold by the White House since yesterday, since it has turned out that he wrote as many as, this is the most staggering number ever. He wrote, General Allen, who's supposed to be prosecuting the war in Afghanistan, has sent over 30,000 pages of emails to the woman who Broadwell was supposedly threatening. That'd be Kelly, the woman Kelly. So, now we got the two top generals. We got Petraeus, we got Allen, we got the two women, one of whom appears to have been strangely connected to General Allen. The other we know, definitely embedded with General Petraeus. The two generals being very much together, the two women now linked because of the sense that one felt that she was moving in on, you got General Allen, I got General Petraeus, you stick to your own damn general. Don't be canoodling under the table with mine. The FBI was over at Broadwell's house late last night. The FBI was seen carrying out boxes of documents. What the hell is going on? Now, these are men in extraordinarily important jobs. And, and I know we're supposed to not, who cares about their private life? Well, up to an extent, I agree with that. But when their private lives means that they are embroiled in these bizarre liaisons with women, one of whom appears to be unstable. I can't speak for the other, but Ms. Broadwell, Petraeus's biographer, there's a new word for it. Petraeus's biographer. There's a little fatal attraction thing coming out of her. I don't. And then it turns out the FBI agent who leaked this to Eric Cantor, the House leader, Tea Party guy, who knew about this before the president knew about it, the FBI agent who leaked it to him, Cantor, had sent shirtless photos of himself to Mrs. Kelly, General Allen's 30,000-page friend. What the hell is going on? It appears that so far we know of 3 men now, the FBI agent, the 2 big generals, who exercised strange judgment, to say the least, judgment that had nothing to do with their brains, but everything to do with their peni. Clearly. This is just another reason why, I'm sorry, but women should rule the world. Men, you've got this serious, I'm going to mix biological metaphors. Your Achilles heel seems to be your penis, says peni. All these years we've been calling it an Achilles heel. To a man, it seems, especially powerful men with power to affect things, seem to, even though they might exhibit extraordinary discipline and extraordinary powers of leadership and judgment 90-some% of the time, they get stark raving stupid around a woman. So you can take on the Taliban, but you can't take on a big-chested babe who's gunning for you? What the? Really? I'm just blown away by this. I really am. And for those sort of poo-pooing it, like this should never have risen to, well, it did rise. And the more it, the more we find out about it, the more questions that arise. Truly. It's more than just the salaciousness of it that is interesting. In fact, that's the sort of the least interesting part, although obviously that's what drives all of this bizarre behavior. But the psychology of it, that highly intelligent, ambitious, smart, tough people can be brought down, like, because they want to screw somebody. I mean, if this were a bunch of high schoolers, you'd chalk it up to, well, their hormones are raging and this and that. They don't have the judgment centers aren't completely configured and at the fore in their still growing brains. But this is amazing to me. We have a caller. Hello.
Hello. My name is Clarence. I'm from Canonsburg.
Hi, Clarence from Canonsburg. I look forward to what you have to say.
Now, I was listening to your talking about the man's body part, and you can't believe this. I'm sitting here thinking, where has she been?
No, what? I can't believe. Well, Clarence, what is with you guys?
The whole world. I've been trying to say this. This whole thing with the Taliban and terrorists. It's all about sex. What is the main thing that the Muslim terrorists?
That's right.
It's all about controlling women.
And also,
their bodies, you can't even see them.
And also, what was the reward to be for killing themselves in this holy, wondrous war?
72 virgins.
Was it? I thought it was 40.
72 virgins.
Oh, whatever. They were going to have virgins. They would be up to their eyeballs in virgins, too.
No, they only got 72, which is not very many for eternity.
Oh, but, for eternity. So it's all about sex.
It's all about sex. Most of it, believe me, and I'm a guy. I've been one for almost 50 years now. Everything they do, all the sports, all the studying, all the college, all that stuff is for sex.
Okay.
If they had sex at will without doing anything, women just came knocking on the door. Hey, would you like to have sex? Guys would just sit there and drink beer all day. That's the drive.
Okay, so does not then that lend some support to my contention that you men should just do that? Go sit somewhere, drink your beer, and let women run things?
I have absolutely. If women could switch from being, society could switch, I should say, from men and switching anyway. Men being the breadwinner and bringing home the bacon and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, it is switching.
Yeah, it's switching. Believe me, if I could sit here, and I have to have a friend who's more or less like this, and the women went out and worked and to pay the bills, they'd come up to a really nice cooked dinner and all that kind of good stuff. Because I'd rather not. I'd rather sit here and cook dinner and clean the house instead of dealing with human beings.
Yeah, women's sexuality is nowhere. It just isn't like this. It's not about, generally speaking, it's not about conquest.
No, and that's where women and men don't understand each other. I mean, because it's the man doing the thing. Women don't get it. They don't. There's no way you can get into a man's, and pun is intended, head. But but I've been trying to tell women this for years, and I posted an article that I read that I think came out in Scientific America, how men and women can't really be friends because men believe that the women are just as sexually attracted to as they are to them. And I said, that's just not true. And I've been telling women that for years.
Well, I've had lots of male friends.
And they were, believe me, they were. If they weren't physically attracted to you, nothing might ever happen. But they were physically attracted to you. But if they weren't, they were gay. The subject might have never came up, but trust me, they were physically attracted to you. And if you would have gave in one time, they would have said, no. That no man would say, no, we're just friends. We can't do that.
No, you're right. I mean, I know you're right. I know you're right. I know you're right about that. Yeah. But I think there are men who are willing to settle for being friends.
Yeah, because they always got that little glimmer of hope that one day it's the same drive. I got plenty of female friends, but I tell them straight up. I said, I'm physically attracted to you. If you can't take it, you better leave now. Or I wouldn't be your friend in the first place.
Okay, but Clarence, there are men. There have to be a few somewhere who have positions of great power, which is, as we know, it is a trapdoor for women. They have great power and great access to women, but they do not give in. What do you make of it?
I could name one real quick. Barack Obama.
That is true. I got to feel, you can't even imagine him.
No.
Is that because she's scary, or is that because he's that in love?
No, I think his thing. He's one of those. He's found the right woman for him. That exact right woman. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't desire anyone else. That's the key right there. And I've known plenty of men who've been married for like 50 years, never cheated on their wife, never thought about it, anything.
Yeah.
But that was the exact right woman for him, it's so rare, it's ridiculous.
Well, you just said you personally knew a lot of them.
Well, I say a lot, and a lot when the numbers are so low is like 3.
3? That was a lot.
Yeah. Every guy that I'm talking about old guys. Every guy who are like my age.
You're not old.
They've all cheated on their wife, huh?
You're not old. You're not even 50. You said.
I got like a few months.
Oh.
And 50 is old, by the way.
I
know people don't like to hear it, but 50 is old.
Oh, no, I know I'm old, but I'm well over 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 50 sounds, when you're my age, 50 sounds young.
It sounds young, yeah.
It sounds young, but it's not.
Yeah, I always go by the 8-year-old. Whatever the 8-year-old says is old is old.
Well, that's a 20-year-old is old, then.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually 20, like 24 or 25. Anything up from like 25 and up is like an old person.
You start, you think back to when you were in grade school and you think of how you perceived your teachers and like they were old. And I bet some of them were in their, 20s.
Hey, I ran into my junior high school, which is a middle school now, basketball coach.
Yeah.
And he still looks like the same guy to me, that was that 30 years ago, over 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's the same guy. And I said, well, dude, how old were you when you were 22? I'm like, oh. I'm 13, he was 22. He's not that much older than me. No.
Wow.
So.
Well, I don't know. So don't you think it's going to get more interesting?
Yeah. To me, this is more soap opera stuff.
Yeah.
But Petraeus, it's just weird. But who's the general over there now? That's the more serious issue to me.
Yeah, Allen with the 30,000. Who writes? Does he have time to prosecute the war if he's writing 30,000-page torrid emails to this?
I don't even know who has it. I'm on Facebook like all day.
Yeah,
and I can't get that. I wouldn't be able to. It might. Maybe has he been over there for 10 years?
No, and then here's the other thing. All of these people are married.
Yeah.
So we got all these cuckolded husbands. We've got. Isn't that interesting? There's not a word for a wife. You can't. Cuckold is not for a woman. So Holly Petraeus, there's not a noun for her.
I have no
Wronged
idea.
Woman, but no, but there's a lot of cuckolded. They're all surgeons too. Broadwell's husband and the other's husband. Jeez.
and that's one of those things. And I think I read a headline. I didn't get to read the article that infidelity is so common among soldiers, and you got to imagine.
Yes.
I don't know how it is for women, but I'm a guy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be deployed somewhere for 2 years.
Right.
That's going to be very difficult.
They do say that, right? And it's definitely. Yeah. And here's the other thing, because it's so, prevalent apparently. And yet, the military, in its code of justice, has it as it's a serious infraction, conceivably can get you dishonorably discharged and even imprisoned.
I found something else that I learned, like I learned so much stuff on Rachel Maddow yesterday. I said, wow, prison term, wow.
And here's the other interesting thing. Petraeus apparently did not start this affair until he had taken his uniform off and put on a suit to be the head of the CIA. Then he really did it. That's when he started the physical relationship. Because the CIA, get this, you know what their policy is?
I watch Maddow, but you can say it.
They don't care if the head of the CIA or any other person in the CIA is having an affair. Except they want to be told about it. They want whoever's having the affair to fess up, say, oh, by the way, just so you know, I'm having an affair. Here is who I'm having it with. And I also have informed my wife.
That's the part I like.
Yeah, that's the deal breaker probably. But isn't that interesting?
That was some of the people I know.
Okay, well, so the CIA says, go ahead and do it just so we know about it and there's no surprises here. Mm-hmm. Oh, and that you can't be having an affair with a foreign person. That was the other thing you can't do with CIA. They have to be Americans.
You know what? That rule might help with immigration policy.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, you. Hey, it's always good to talk to you, Clarence.
Same here. At one point, you still there?
Yes.
At one point, I want to go to how people were, I know you guys were talking about it last week, but I'm getting like phone calls, how people are freaking out when that Obama won. It's weird.
What do you mean people are getting phone calls?
I'm getting phone calls, from like people who are like Republicans. They with the apocalypse is coming because Obama won a second term.
Why?
Really weird to me.
You mean?
Huh?
People you know, Republicans?
Yeah, people I know. Yeah, I have Republicans. There's Facebook, and I like went to school with them, and they have my phone number. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they really think this is the.
They really think.
Well, fine.
Yeah, and just real quick, you remember that "We're Sorry" in 2004? That people were putting up on the website apologizing for re-electing George W. Bush.
Yes.
It's the same thing. I was trying to explain to her, to liberals, I'm like, you guys freaked out in 2004 when Bush got reelected with this, you're sorry and you're apologizing to the world for it. This is the same thing.
Jeez. It's unbelievable.
What's that?
It's unbelievable. Everything's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just when you think you got a handle on things get sillier. Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Right.
Bye. Oh, my God. Yeah, so Broadwell, I'm being reminded that Broadwell, here's another thing that shows Petraeus' judgment not being so hot in this regard. He meets her at a party in Boston. She's a grad student at Harvard. She says to him, I want to write my doctoral dissertation on you, General. Sure, says the general. Yeah. And from that minute on, they're like palsy-walsy. He then very quickly decides that she will write his biography. She's not just writing a dissertation now. She will be his biographer. And he actually introduces her to people. This is my biographer. And a lot of people thought, what? What? She's never written a book. You're a very important man, and some very important historians might actually like to be your biographer. How do you pick somebody who's never written a book. And now she's your biographer. Well, in fact, she didn't write the book. What she had was access. And she would send all the stuff she was getting from him to the guy who wrote the book, actually. And that was a Washington Post editor named Vernon Loeb. He actually wrote it. And he has written a piece about his reaction to all of this. It's so funny to see the people, the men and the reporters who are around this story. They're all to a one. There's our word coming. They're all to a one gobsmacked. And Vernon Loeb says gobsmacked. Couldn't believe that his co-author was having an affair with Petraeus. That close, and he doesn't see it. I just heard an NPR reporter who covers military issues and saying, by way of a question posed to him, were you surprised to learn about all this? And he said, in my entire life, I have never been more surprised. So this is fascinating. I haven't even scratched the surface of the questions that are arising. Okay. The investigation into General Allen is in its early stages, according to a defense official. And the defense official said there is a, quote, distinct possibility that the investigation into General Allen is connected to the one that led to Petraeus' resignation. So now we got the really connected. We already see, I was going to talk about a love triangle when this thing first started. We're now at what? A parallelogram? Where are we? I don't even know the geometry of it now. It is so... And anyone who doesn't find this fascinating is, come on. It is sad, yes, and of course all the righteous people say, oh, this is terrible, it's so sad, think of the families. Well, right, would that some of these players had thought of the families, right? Jeez. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll take a break. Boy, that smells good, Jess. What are you doing to me? What is that? Some sticky, what is that?
Onion bagel.
Oh, an onion bagel? Isn't that weird? I smelled like sweet, and it's onions?
Onion and dill.
Onion and dill bagel. That smells good. Okay, let's get a break out of the way. And for those of you who are above all this talk, toodaloo, I've got to get it off my chest. Gotta. I ain't done yet. We'll be back.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Your furnace and air conditioning run nonstop? Are your heating and cooling bills too high? Call Pittsburgh Foam Insulation. Their certified installers are ready to insulate your home using the best wall insulation product available. And the owner has over 20 years experience installing insulation in homes. Pittsburgh Foam Insulation is locally owned and is not a franchise. Unlike the other guys, there are no franchise fees that will be passed on to you, which means Pittsburgh Foam Insulation is able to offer their customers a lower, more affordable price than their competitor. Call 412-856-6100 for a free, no obligation estimate, or on the web at pittsburghfoaminsulation.com.
This is the sound of a flat-screen television hurled off a building. Now the new bike your kid wants. These are the things you could have, all cast into oblivion. Because when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have bought with it. Use Energy Star light bulbs and appliances, and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All right. Now, here, get this. Here's another question I have. From what has leaked out in terms of the emails that prompted this whole thing, the emails from Broadwell to, what's her name, Kelly. We had first heard that they were threatening, that she was worried, and so contacted this shirtless FBI agent who we learned that she had previous contact with. Who the hell knows what that means? And he somehow got it to the right people. Now, he had nothing to do with other than being the messenger who brought it to the FBI's attention. However, this gets weird and potentially political in a way. Definitely political. So this guy was not part of the investigation. He was not part of the cyber squad that would be investigating it. He was never assigned to the investigation. But because he had the hots for Kelly, he, according to a source, continued to, quote, nose around. So much so that eventually his superiors at the FBI told him to stay the hell away from the case. He was never invited to any briefings, but he couldn't stop. He was obsessed. We add this other guy into the mix. Then he worries because he doesn't think anything's happening with this. Even though he's been told, shut up, it's none of your business, we've got it, go away. That's when he contacts a Republican congressman, and he tells him this stuff. He said, I think the FBI is burying this. Who do I talk to? And the congressman says, you talk to Congressman Cantor. You go to Eric Cantor, the House Majority Leader. Now, an FBI source says that it was because of this agent's, the shirtless agent, because of the shirtless agent's worldview, that the shirtless agent suspected there was a cover-up going on by the Obama administration to protect the president from this scandal. And so what you have now, the shirtless agent now is uncovered to be a Tea Party type. And so he gets this information prior to the election to Cantor. He's thinking something might happen with it. Now, what's interesting is Eric Cantor knows about it, but doesn't deploy the information. Who knows why? He's going to become embroiled in this. Believe me, when they start investigating it. Cantor's going to get pulled into this. Oh, guess who else is already sort of pulled in a funny way? Everybody's favorite pundit, because he's, I think, universally felt to be nonpartisan, able to see things fairly, to see good in Republicans, good in Democrats, this, that, blah, blah, blah. That would be David Gergen, right? He has served both Republican and Democratic presidents. David Gergen, who appears on CNN, happens to be the author of this ecstatic blurb on the back of Ms. Broadwell's book, suggesting that it was like the greatest history ever written or something. Now, it's a bunch of pap, apparently. So, David Gergen, turns out, is a friend of Broadwell's and a friend of Petraeus's. And so when he ends up on Face the Nation, apparently on Sunday, when this story's breaking, he is freaked. And here's what he says, Gergen. And you might say, as usual, he's being wise. But listen to this. David Gergen. I would hope people would remember that there have been other great leaders in this country. Remember President Eisenhower, when he was General Eisenhower. Kay Summersby, how important that relationship was to him. Remember Franklin Roosevelt and Lucy Mercer, how important that relationship was to him during World War II. I think we have to understand, Gergen goes on, as the saying goes, the best of men are still men. Men at their best. Okay, so there you have Gergen saying, suggesting actually, that maybe Dwight Eisenhower wouldn't have made it through World War II if he hadn't been stooping his driver, Kay Summersby. And maybe we wouldn't have won World War II if Franklin Roosevelt hadn't been able to, release his tensions by being with Lucy Mercer. Because remember, Franklin Roosevelt and Lucy Mercer, how important that relationship was. That great men, is what Gergen is saying, need to be loved. They need the adulation. They need the respite of placing their weary, troubled heads on the breasts of a babe, never their wives. Okay. You know what that boils down to? An adage that has always annoyed the hell out of me because it is the excuse of all excuses. And Gergen has just deployed it. He just prettied it up a little bit with the best of men are still men. You know what the phrase is I'm thinking of? Boys will be boys. Right? That is the go-to explanation for every bit of bad behavior that boys/men get into. Boys will be boys. That's why there's rape. That's why there's all kinds of terrible things, killing, because boys will be boys. See, increasingly, people are suggesting, and most of them might be women, I guess, that ain't going to pass muster. Boys will be boys. That shouldn't pass muster with a mother. Oh, Mom, I'm sorry, but, boys must be boys. How does that get you off the hook? What does boys will be boys boil down to? Hey, look. We're defective. Hey, look, we do not have the self-discipline or the control that apparently you women have. Because as far as I know, there's no competing slogan that says girls will be girls that excuses women's bad behavior. So boys will be boys, and where does it take us? It takes us back to men's need to... You know what? Isn't that bizarre? Isn't that interesting? Okay. Now, anyone who thinks that this story is not a story is out of their minds. So what really makes the world go round, huh? It boils down to this. And what's interesting increasingly is we will see as this is played out, because the men involved are important. They have risen to the very top. They are globally, internationally, militarily, everything important. Important to the very security, perhaps, of us. And they aren't going to be thrown overboard whenever these kinds of things occur. the person who will ultimately be demonized and judged to be at fault here will be the women, the two babes. And I find Broadwell especially a fascinating character. Here's a woman who had it all, right? She's pretty, apparently brilliant. She had a real nice husband, 2 beautiful children. Everybody who knew her said she was a consummate mother. She is in incredible shape. Have you seen her arms? They make Michelle Obama's arms look flabby. They're scary. She is, she got it all. And then she gets to hobnob with Petraeus and all this stuff. But she's the one who pretty much set this whole thing unraveling. Smart, yeah, but obviously not so smart. She's having an affair with a man who can't afford to be found out, right? So, what does she do? She sends these harassing emails to another babe who she accuses of going after her guy. Well, the odd thing is here, first of all, Petraeus is not her guy. Petraeus is married to a woman named Holly. So here you have a mistress trying to get rid of a potential other mistress and willing to do something so stupid. Emails, come on. Anyone knows that an email will get you anytime, and that Petraeus was doing emails back and forth, and General Allen doing emails back and forth. Are they nuts? So what about their judgment? These great men. Any idiot knows you don't put anything in an email that you don't conceivably want your worst enemy to read, because once it's there and out there, it's available. Then there's the odd thing of this woman, Broadwell, obviously being privy to information that had not been released. So, in a speech in Denver, have you seen this? In October 26th, right before all hell's going to break loose, she is speaking to an audience, and a question's asked about Benghazi. And she says, let me get the direct quote. She first of all says that there's a CIA annex at the... What had happened, she said, was that the CIA annex, which is part of the compound that was attacked, the CIA annex had apparently imprisoned some Libyan militia members, and that the this attack that ended up killing the ambassador and 2 of CIA agents and a 4th person, was an effort to try to rescue these prisoners that were being held in the CIA complex. That's what she tells this audience on October 26th. No one in the CIA had uttered such a word. So here she had information, and she's cavalier about it, just offering it up at this. How does she get that information? And on top of it, Petraeus says that the affair ended months ago. If the affair ended months ago, how does she know this information about Benghazi? This whole thing is very odd. Very odd. And fascinating. So anyway, the psychologists are being interviewed, of course, already. And why would a man with so much at the top of the world risk everything? Well, here's what the psychologists say. People who get to the top for lots of reasons, including they are risk takers. They are risk takers. And risk takers also tend to believe that they control their destiny. So that could be another wrinkle. Hello, caller.
Hey, Lynn, George and Moon.
George and Moon.
Can I throw in my 2 cents on this?
I'm dying to hear it.
Okay. First of all, the broad is is a graduate of West Point Military Academy. Also,
correct.
Retired as a major in the United States Army.
Correct, and she also had a security clearance.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, what I'm saying is there is some cultural affinity here that is very strong.
Right.
Petraeus is an Army culture guy, as well as higher education, doctor degree. She's striving for a doctor degree. There's a lot of commonality here of culture and mutual admiration, I might say.
Well, here
mutual understanding.
You're absolutely onto something that I find fascinating, because somebody is quoted somewhere as saying that Petraeus looked at her as almost his avatar. He saw in her himself.
Yes. Well.
So wait. So
yep.
And when you're as high and mighty as he, there's a great ego at work here. So what? And in a way,
both of them.
Both of them. They're having an affair with themselves.
Well, you could call it that, but that's not really my point.
All right.
That's secondary, but it's supporting my point. I think we have a new model on the former power structure of men over women. You know, the old phrase, men use power to get sex, women use sex to get power.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we have now a new dynamic. It's called mutual power and sex exchange. Both of these women in these relationships with these top-ranking guys were highly educated, highly full of resources, and highly motivated and self-promoting.
Correct.
They were not weak-kneed, young, naive, young women.
Not at all.
Being bowled over by a big, powerful guy that they were in the employee with. They were both advancing themselves with each other. Petraeus was advancing himself with his personal biographer. She was adding to her doctoral thesis and resume to get her doctorate degree. Okay? Same thing with the other woman with her commander. She, I think, was a professional journalist.
No, I'm not aware of that. I think she had a volunteer position at the base that gave her access.
Right, but she was a professional. She was also a professional and highly educated, too. So I think I've seen this before. This is what happened in a couple other cases with, like, our very bad judgment presidential candidate of some years ago.
John Edwards.
Yes. He had somewhat the same thing. This woman was highly educated, had resources, self-promoting.
Wait, but here's the other thing. George.
And so was he. So
okay.
I think
that's
my model. I think it's a new model.
I'm not sure, because ultimately,
think about it.
Wait, both of these women are a good 20 years younger than the men. They also are sexually very attractive, and we know they're ambitious and
to their advantage.
Okay, this is all to their advantage.
Right.
But
and those guys are highly placed and highly powerful.
Here's the thing. These guys, first of all, a wife knows you. and a wife is done flattering you, right? You don't,
Right.
Holly Petraeus, you don't come home to Holly Petraeus and she's not going to treat you like Ms. Broadwell's going to treat you. Because
Right.
Broadwell was also gaga, don't you think, and flattering, and she was giving, in both these cases, something that they aren't going to get at home.
Okay, now hold that thought. Switch over to the man's point of, or to her point of view of what she's gaga at, of his total power and confidence and control of things.
And the fact that she has made him into an idiot.
Yes, she controls him.
That's right.
He controls her. It's a mutual thing. And the thing I smack hard about this is the U.S. military making it a criminal offense for these people to do it. This was not a power position on one side of the typical male thing. And I would defend the CIA point of view as these were people making personal judgments on pretty much an equal basis for self-advancement and making decisions for themselves. They weren't stupid, naive, lacking resources, weak, or anything like that. But the U.S. military, the last 20 years, has turned into a moralistic judge making this a criminal thing. And I think that's a big mistake because they have been ruining a lot of good people.
Well, the CIA though had more liberal view of this,
Yes,
but
right.
Petraeus
As they
did.
should.
But Petraeus did not concur with. Did not do what the CIA said. Hey, if you're going to do this, you
Right.
got to tell us about it.
Well, he made a big mistake with the CIA on that. He compromised himself by letting her use the email and for him communicating that stuff over his email. And everybody knows that in intelligence services that anyone who puts themselves in a vulnerable position, whether it's for sex or money or whatever, is liable to be compromised.
Okay,
And
well then,
all the way up to the very top, and that's a dangerous thing.
So then you would not disagree with the fact that he should have been outed and resigned as a result.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. He was still operating by his Army military power in a civilian agency that has a different attitude.
I agree. Okay.
Think about it's now a new dynamic, I think.
Okay.
Powerful women, powerful men hitching up.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
But if you think about it, powerful men, powerful women, and their mutual attraction takes them both down. It stops their rise. It finishes them off. So their ascent ends because of the sexual attraction. I don't know. People will never learn. It has nothing to do with intelligence, obviously. It has everything to do with hormones. Hormones. Okay, taking a break.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to BurkeBargains.com for great deals on the 2012 Best of Pittsburgh winners. This week, get discounts on the Carnegie Museum of Natural History, the Pittsburgh Opera's Don Giovanni, Chicago at Heinz Hall, Dozens, and the Harris Grill. BurkeBargains.com, Pittsburgh's e-commerce mall. BurkeBargains.com.
Winter has arrived and it's cold outside, so get to Little's for all your UGG needs. Little's has Uggs for men, women, and children to stay warm with shearling-lined boots, shoes, and slippers. And don't forget to get your hats, gloves, scarves, and more. All available at Little's Shoes. Bring the entire family to view one of the largest in-store UGG shops in the U.S. Little's Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store, 5850 Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill.
Pittsburgh City Paper is available now. Pick up one today for a closer look at City Theater's South Side stories. Plus, Lisa Marie Presley, Chicago, Led Zeppelin, and News of the Weird. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
All right. I'll cease and desist. All right, so there's still a bunch of House seats that have not been called. There's like 5 outstanding from the election that are still too close or they're being contested. But the Democratic candidate leads in all 5. That could be some serious pickup in the House as well. And there had been 6, but as of yesterday, 1 was decided in the Democratic candidate's behalf, and this is out of Arizona. The Democrat Kristen Sinema, I don't know how it's pronounced, has beaten a very, very conservative right-winger, Tea Party extremist, in fact. And what's interesting about this new congressperson is that she will be the first openly bisexual member of Congress. Why should we even know that? Anyway, so she's going to be, okay, so now we got the first lesbian senator, we've got the first bisexual, and, oh, this even makes it more interesting, the bisexual is also an atheist. I mean, she's out there as an atheist bisexual. Now, if she'd won from some, liberal, like if she'd won in Massachusetts or something like that, you could understand it. But this is out of Arizona. Now, when Arizona, granted, it's Phoenix, but when Arizona starts electing atheist bisexuals to Congress, you know that this is not the conservative country that the Republicans have told themselves it is. Of course, they tell themselves lots of things that aren't. Okay, here's when you know you're getting old. When the Oxford English Dictionary puts out their word of the year. Oh, I don't think this is Oxford English Dictionary. This is just the Oxford Dictionary. What the hell's that? Oxford Dictionaries. And they have, for years, been choosing the newest word of the year. And the reason I know I'm old is because I don't recognize this as a word. And it's the word of the year? Well, that means it's out there, and I'm clueless. I bet Jess is young. Jess will know. Jess, the word is, and it's all in caps, so it's an odd word, GIF.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, Jess says, oh, yeah. Okay, GIF. GIF is the word of the year. What is GIF? Do you have any idea? You can't explain it.
I don't really know how to explain it. It's one of those internet...
Here's what it says here.
It's a clip on the internet. It's like a moving picture.
Okay, that's what it says here. The GIF is a compressed file format for images that can be used to create simple looping animations. And Oxford University Press says that it's now it's the word of the year, GIF. Who knew? It beat out Superstorm. That I would understand, and beat out Super PAC, and beat out another one I'd never heard of, Eurogeddon. But I like it. Eurogeddon is what is feared in Europe is going to happen with the euro going and the EU going. They'll have, instead of an Armageddon, a Eurogeddon. But there you have it, GIF. And if you didn't know what a GIF was, and now you hear its word of the year, you too can feel as old as I. So, what else we got here? Hang on. Trying to get to my emails. Chuck writes, although I find the whole Petraeus story fascinating, I have to admit I'm a bit annoyed that this story has knocked Obama's win off the front page. That was going to happen eventually anyway, but I thought we deserved to bask in the glory of that Republican thumping a bit longer. Well, I think it's still there. I mean, I'm still basking. I am. Also, the Petraeus story has stolen some thunder from the fiscal cliff, which deserves our laser focus right now. Don't take your eye off that one. No, I know, but, this is relief. This is, because it's soap opera. And the fiscal cliff is so, oh God, it's going to be so ugly. Listening to the Congress and the White House and all the talking heads. I know it's important, but having just been through this endless and horrific election, I don't want to do the fiscal cliff. I want to do Peyton Place hits the Pentagon. That's what I want to do. Anyway, so now we don't have the head of our forces in Afghanistan is besmirched. He thought he was going to get kicked up to the NATO high command. That ain't going to happen. Oh, and by the way, Obama is not going to nominate John Kerry as Secretary of State, which I thought was a given. What did I know? I think Kerry's destined for defense. This is the latest scuttlebutt. And Obama wants Susan Rice, who is our ambassador to the UN, as Secretary of State, which I think is going to create, a horrible firestorm in the Senate because she's now persona non grata because she misled them about the Benghazi thing. So, but isn't it odd? What is it now? You have to be a woman to be a Secretary of State? This would be 1, 2, 3. This would be the fourth female Secretary of State in a row. And you know what? It makes sense. Women, by biology, I mean, it's been proven, tend to be more, they listen better, they're more empathetic, and maybe they're more capable of diplomacy better. I don't know. But stop and think about it. Madeleine Albright, Condoleezza Rice, Hillary Clinton, and now Susan Rice. And by the way, Susan Rice also black. 2 black women, 2 white women. But women. Find that interesting. I don't have time to get into it, but I sure want to. I want to talk, maybe we can do it tomorrow with Potter. I want to talk about National Flood Insurance Program. I want to talk about the fact that we, the taxpayers, apparently are going to have to pay for and bail out all these people who build their homes on the ocean, and then when the ocean comes in and takes their home, they turn to us and say, make us whole. Well, I'm sorry, but the government should not be insuring. Private companies won't insure them because it's a loser. Why should they? Then they shouldn't have insurance. If you want to build your home, especially given what we know about where the oceans are going, if you want to build your home on this beautiful spit of land, do it at your own risk. But don't come to us. Do it at your own risk. I want to talk about that. That's insane. The federal government has this flood insurance program, and it collects about $3.5 billion in premiums a year. And guess what it's been paying out a year? Like 18 and 19 billion. Okay, now wait, I can figure this out. Takes in 3, pays out 17. Whoops, that doesn't seem to work too well. Make the premiums reflect what the risk is to the insurer, which is us. If the premiums have to be $50,000 a year or $200,000 a year, then that's what they have to be. Or you just don't get insurance, and you don't build where you're going to get blown away again or flooded again. Insanity. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Keep rebuilding something that's going to be knocked over again, to keep doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome? Well, what are we, nuts? Sorry. Well, I've worked myself up into a... Careful, says Jess. What? You think I'm going to expire? Why, I might. Okay, so tomorrow, Potter will be here, and then he can talk, and I can save my voice, which seems to be deserting me anyway. Have a great day. Toodaloo.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.